We are overtime with the Truth Teller, Bruce Warner, here on this Truth Teller Tuesday. Locked On Canes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You know, Bruce, we're getting some comments after the morning episode today with Miami's quarterback situation, right? People asking us, why not focus on Jacurri Brown and Emory Williams for next season? Let them compete for the starting job. Let them develop after missing out on Cam Ward. The words of the commenters are, you know, you're probably not going to be a college football playoff team next year, so why not give an opportunity to one of these younger guys? Do you think that's a viable option now that Miami has missed out on Ward to the NFL? Should they think more about focusing internally?
I don't know if it's focusing, but both of those guys are going to get a chance, assuming that Jacurri stays, to compete for the job.
Yeah.
That's obvious. I don't care who they bring in, unless they go out and get Will Howard, who's going to be the starter. But if they get Malachi Nelson or one of these other guys that are young guys, it's going to be one of those two guys. And Judd Anderson is coming here, but he's not going to play. He's going to have to redshirt. So Emory has, 6-7 games of experience because his red shirt's gone.
Yes.
Jacurri shirted this year. He's got 3 more years to go. I'm more worried about the offensive coordinator, the play calling, and the lack of quarterback development because I'm not sure he's really a quarterback coach. So I keep talking about Dorsey. It's not my money, but that's what I would do. I don't care what he did with Buffalo. I trust Ken Dorsey. He's pretty smart. So that's what I would do. And then these two guys can compete with somebody who really knows what he's looking at, could very much help them with looking at film because he was like a film rat, Kenny. And that's what I think these guys need. And so he sees things that maybe Dawson doesn't see. That's what I would like to see. But the answer to the question is yes, they should both compete for the starting job next year, regardless of who comes in. I still want them to go out and get a quarterback who's got a big upside. That's what I'd like to see.
So you would prefer maybe bringing in somebody younger, like Malachi Nelson from USC, former 5-star recruit. He's got 4 years of eligibility left. He didn't burn his red shirt this year. The quarterback from UNLV, who I know my guy Larry Bluestein, he says he's okay. He's not super high on him. He's got 3 years of eligibility left.
I trust Bluestein. I've known him 35 years just like I know these other guys. And so I trust him. He says he's not that good from his own school. He's not that good.
Well, and he said one of the reasons why this guy is leaving is Bluestein believes he would have been beaten out for the starting job at UNLV next year. So take that for what it's worth.
For a lot of guys, they're not going to get their playing time.
Right.
You know, it's funny though. It's what, a week almost since it was Thursday. We played against Rutgers, and we haven't heard a word from Jacurri Brown yet. Whether he's coming or he's not, or he's staying.
Wouldn't no news be good news? Because today is the deadline to enter the transfer for this window. There's another window in the spring, but today is the deadline to enter the transfer portal. Seems like he's at least going to stick around through spring football, if not longer.
Right, that could be. And that's probably smart on his part to stick around, knowing he's going to get reps. We don't have anybody else besides an injured Emory Williams and a Judd Anderson kid coming in here. But I still think they should try to get Will Howard. If they can't, then I would go to Malachi Nelson. But again, I'm concerned about the coaches more than I am about the players. I think Brown could be okay. I think Emory could be okay. You just can't put a leash on him next year. He's got some experience. Let him play. Let him play. Let them both play if you can't get anybody else.
I got a couple reasons for not writing off Shannon Dawson yet, personally. And a lot of it is just based on needing more information and needing more of a sample size. Because for one thing, we talked about just how dynamic Miami's offense was against Texas A&M, which kind of makes me wonder, like, why didn't we see it that way again? Did Mario Cristobal start to micromanage him during ACC play? Because things seem to get a lot more conservative in conference play. That's number one. And then number two would be, I think there's a chicken or the egg conversation that needs to be had about the quarterback play, right? Because, you know, Tyler Van Dyke was brilliant in that Texas A&M game. Once conference play started, he turned into just a complete basket case and interception machine, and he couldn't read a defense. So, you know, people are always wondering how much of that was just on Tyler Van Dyke and how much of that was on his offensive coordinator. I could look at it from Shannon Dawson's perspective and say, it's kind of hard to be creative and intuitive with my play calling when my quarterback is a liability, right? And then maybe Tyler Van Dyke might say it's kind of hard for me to play well when my OC is a liability. So that's a big question for me, and it's why I'd be intrigued, assuming Shannon Dawson is the offensive coordinator again next year. I would be intrigued how things look when we see him coaching a lot more games at Miami.
Well, that could be true, except how many screens did you see this year? I saw more screens yesterday in those 2 games than I saw for Miami in the entire season.
Right.
And I know that Riley Williams is a young kid, and I know that Arroyo didn't play, but they still didn't use him at all. They used that other guy, 84, who can't catch a cold, let alone a football. Yeah, I mean, he's in here just to block it.
Yeah.
So a lot of these things that I'm watching or I'm not seeing that I expect to see aren't there. And that's what scares me about Dawson. They played great in that one game, and they played great against Boston College. What happened to the rest of these games? They look so predictable. It's frightening. They're just frightening. And then we talked about the lack of Van Dyke with the checkdowns because he's looking down the field, and he had running backs in the flat, or he had Smith in the flat and didn't get him the ball. Who's not telling him what to do? Who's not telling this guy, take a second or two, check it down. When he checked it down, for the most part, they did pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And when you know the blitz is coming, like Florida State and North Carolina, where's the screen? You learn screens in grammar school.
Right.
What the hell is this problem? And with all the running backs and the young guys that could fly, those little guys, Ray and Smith, and even Restrepo, who people bitch about that he keeps throwing it to him.
Christopher Johnson as well.
Yeah, I mean, he could fly. Get the ball in the flat to this kid. Yeah. Where's the imagination on offense? And that's not a quarterback problem. That's his problem, as far as I'm concerned.
And that's one of my big New Year's resolutions if I'm Mario Cristobal. I want to get into some more of these when we come back. We got the Truth Teller with us. Bonus episode of Locked on Canes. You want to keep it locked, and I know you're keeping it locked to FanDuel. Whether you're looking at college football playoff national championship game coming up, all the NFL Week 18 action and playoff action coming soon. The NFL regular season is wrapping up. There's still time, though, to get in on the action at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed when you place a $5 bet. That's $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. The app is so easy to use. There's so many different ways to bet, like live same-game parlays, which are so exciting. You can find new bets. You can find bets in the new Explore tab. You can make a parlay in the Parlay Hub, which is the best way to find popular parlays. I love the player props, and there's so much more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet a layup. FanDuel, official partner of the NFL. Thank you so much for making this bonus overtime episode of Locked on Canes your first listen or your second listen or your second watch today. We are free wherever you get your podcasts. We're free on YouTube, Locked on Podcast Network, your team every day. All right, so Bruce, a couple of the other New Year's resolutions I have written down for Mario Cristobal. You were just touching on it. You need to fight Cristobal, Dawson Collective, or, whoever the offensive coordinator is next year. I assume it's going to be Shannon Dawson, but whoever it is, you need to use your playmakers with more creativity. Yes. Like Brashard Smith just left the team in the transfer portal. I've got to think that him not getting the types of reps he wanted has to do with him wanting to leave. So you need to find ways to use the guys that are still here and coming in. JoJo Trader, I think, can be an absolute weapon. Ray Joseph, Nye Carr coming in, Chris Johnson, Robbie Washington. Of course, Miami still has Restrepo in the slot, but he's not really a gadget guy. He's the best receiver on the team. Right. But you have guys who can stretch the field and be gadget guys.
Horton should have. This is the guy you should pencil in as how he has to improve. He has to go to the next level because Colby Young didn't. He had some potential last year. He came in this year. We thought he was going to be a breakout star. And he had lapses for periods or games where he didn't show up, and he dropped a few balls.
Some drops and not enough separation in his routes,
right?
Which I didn't think was going to be a problem. Right? Yeah, I didn't think it was going to be a problem for him this year. Yeah.
Sorry, right. I don't want to keep cutting you off, but
no, you're fine. I was just saying,
you've been All-American. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So, all right, if I'm Mario Cristobal, another New Year's resolution would be, and I don't know if this is going to happen, maybe it will, to get your quarterback position settled by spring football. Now, you're running out of time to bring in a new transfer. Now, guys who are already in the portal can still commit, but you're running out of time for other guys to enter the portal. I don't know how far along Miami might be with some of their other quarterback targets after Ward. I would like to see you get somebody in by spring football, but if you don't, you certainly hope Jacurri Brown stays and doesn't transfer. Emory Williams gets healthy by spring, and Judd Anderson is coming in as an early enrollee. So you got to hopefully have at least 3 scholarship quarterbacks in spring football. That's another resolution. And then another one, Bruce, and this was what upset me the most out of the Pinstripe Bowl, was the way that Jacoby George handled himself and the way that Miami's coaches handled him. He should not have been on the field long enough to commit that many boneheaded, selfish personal foul penalties. He should have been benched after the first one. What kind of a message are you sending to him and the rest of the team if you let this guy get baited into all these taunting penalties and personal fouls? Like, tough love was needed. Like, and Liz, I'm not writing off Jacoby George. He's a fine player, but he's also a hothead, okay? And you need to handle him properly. Maybe you could have taught him some kind of a lesson or sent a message if you had benched him in that game.
I've known that. He's been there a couple of years already, but that was very selfish, and he just got baited into it. It's bad. It doesn't look, the optics are bad for him and for Mario, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
Here's a question for you, just on an aside note. What would you say if Van Dyke lights it up at Wisconsin? What would that tell you? Anything? Improved himself or what? What do you think?
First of all, I wouldn't read too much into it, honestly, because changes of scenery sometimes do players well, right? I mean, he's extra motivated, right? He was all in with Miami for the last 4 years, 5 years, however it's been long that he's been on the team. So he's motivated to go out there. Sometimes a change of scenery does a quarterback well. They've got a good offensive coordinator there in Phil Longo. I think that they could find the right recipe with TVD. So if he goes to Wisconsin and does well, I know some Miami fans would say, see, we tried to ruin this kid. For me, I would be happy for him because I like Tyler Van Dyke. Now, if he goes there and does poorly, then, that would probably validate some of the things that happen down here.
All right. So what do you want to see? Who do you want? Now, let's assume that Jacurri stays, obviously, Emory's staying, and Judd's coming in. Who do you want personally?
I think, crazy as it may be to say this out loud, if he can get a waiver, Taulia Tagovailoa might be the best option, right? I mean, he's a serviceable veteran quarterback, obviously a drop off from Cam Ward, okay, but Taulia, he's got his older brother's work ethic. I think having the two of them in the same city would probably, give them opportunities to work out a lot together. I think Taulia could benefit from that. I also think the harmony that you would have from his family to have, because they spend obviously a lot of time down here with a very close family, Hawaiian family, spent a lot of time down here. They spent a lot of time up in Maryland with Taulia. I think the family would be really happy to have the two quarterbacks in the same city. I think there could be something there, Bruce. And as a media member, it would also be a lot of fun to cover Taulia and Tua in the same city. I also, now this young man has some personal baggage, I think, going back to his high school days. Hopefully he's worked out like some of the legal problems he's had. But Jaden DeLora from Arizona, who, played under Jed Fish there, who's obviously good offensive mind and quarterbacks coach. Jaden DeLora is in the transfer portal. I think he could be one of these good veteran options. So, and he's Hawaiian as well. So I'm just going the all Hawaiian ticket. Get me Taulia Tagovailoa, get me Jaden DeLora, get me a luau and some pineapple, and then let's roll.
So the younger brother, Tua's younger brother, if he comes in here, is he similar? In other words, you'd have to have these speed burners like the Dolphins do. Now, we have some short guys that are speed burners, like Ray. And we lost Bouchard, but we got some of these guys, Nykar. They could have an offense very similar to the Dolphins, get rid of the ball quickly and let these guys take off. I just think that any option, I'd rather hear something than sit around for 3 weeks and wait for one guy to sign. That just irks me to no end.
Yeah.
Now, there's not a lot of studs out there that we missed out on. We still haven't missed out on yet officially on Will Howard, who was the number 2 guy. Right. So I'm wondering if right this second they're on the phone with this kid or his agent or whoever else he's got, somebody helping him. to see if they can steal him away from Ohio State, because today is like the last day, and he still hasn't signed that we know of.
Yeah.
So maybe there is a chance.
Maybe. I know Miami's going to be aggressive there. Anything else you want to say in closing, Bruce? I know it's been a frustrating week. I'm still very pleased with the top 4 recruiting class. I'm still hanging my hat on that. But obviously, from the bowl loss to Cam Ward declaring for the NFL,
It kind of fizzled a little bit now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And then we have to spend 3 more months talking about what? The basketball team, I guess.
And they're not as good as I thought they would be. We're going to be talking about the women's basketball team. They're very good.
Yeah, the men's they don't have a real big shot blocker. They don't have anybody, a rim protector. I mean, I like Orchad, but still, he's not a big guy. You know, he's a guy, but yeah. Anyway, that's it. I'm okay. This very disappointing season, as it turned out. There's hope, but right now we're in limbo. We're in limbo on a lot of things. You know, and I hope Mario turns this around. I just don't know if he's too stubborn to listen to you or these other people that everybody's got a million opinions, and none of us are wrong because we don't know.
Yeah.
And I hate being negative, but when you see what's happening and you get a lot of behind the scenes stuff, because I talk to people, it's a little scary, you know, because he just looked like he hasn't improved much in terms of his coaching knowledge and decision making in the 25 games he's been here. That's scary. You know, if it was just a matter of we didn't have the talent, but we got a great coach. Look at Elko. He goes from Duke to Texas A&M. You serious? Who the hell was Mike Elko before he went to Duke? But there he is. He's making millions, and Mario's making money. But some of these coaches are smart, and they're aggressive and progressive. And I'm not sure I see that. It's like a dinosaur, as far as I'm concerned. It's a throwback 40 years. They call me old. Hell.
Well, I just hope he can keep stacking talent, and it makes the margins bigger, like the margin for error. That can be my only hope. And listen, I hope we talked about it in the morning episode. Self-reflection. Hopefully there is some of that, and that you stop making some of these same mistakes. But Bruce, I appreciate you as always, my friend. Truth Teller Tuesdays. It's always the highlight of my week, sir. Have a great rest of your week, and have a happy New Year.
Go Canes.
We'll talk to everybody next time on another episode of Locked On Canes, part of the awesome Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.